Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Your Excellency, Prime Minister Barzani, esteemed members of the Cabinet, Your Excellency Mr. Zaidan Khalaf, the representative of Prime Minister Sudani, and the esteemed delegation, the federal delegation from the government of Iraq, diplomatic colleagues, esteemed guests, good morning. Human rights are at the core of all the work of the United Nations system. And together with peace and security and development, represent one of the three interlinked and mutually reinforcing pillars of the United Nations enshrined in the Charter. In implementing our mandates and supporting states in the Middle East to address crime, drugs, and terrorism, and in coordination with the entire United Nations system, UNODC works in upholding the human rights norms enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and the international human rights treaties. Many forms of crime have direct implications on the enjoyment of human rights, and UNODC supports states in protecting, promoting, and respecting the rights to life, to protection from torture, to fair trial, to addressing trafficking of persons, and also protect health. A key tool for supporting member states in meeting their obligation under international human rights law are the UN standards and norms in crime prevention and criminal justice, a body of standards developed by the member states with the support of UNODC and adopted by the UN Crime Congress and subsequently by the UN Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, ECOSOC, and the UN General Assembly. The UN standards and norms in crime prevention and criminal justice represent international good practices at the time of their adoption. In Iraq, including the Kurdistan region of Iraq, we have a long-standing program supporting the country in the areas of juvenile justice, access to justice for victims, prison reform, and law enforcement responses to violence against children. Our activities also comprise support to counter serious organized crimes that threaten human rights, such as trafficking in narcotic drugs, terrorism, and trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants, in addition to tackling corruption and money laundering. UNODC has launched 3 e-learning modules on investigative interviewing and an evidence-based methodology recognized recently by experts and international actors through the development of the principles on effective interviewing for investigations and information gathering, also known as the Mendes principles. Using evidence-based approaches to interviewing and investigations has shown its efficiency in terms of quality of evidence and reduction of risks of human rights. According to Kurdish authorities, the volume of drugs trafficked through the KRI is continuously increasing, with seizures in border provinces, as the Prime Minister mentioned, being the most frequent. The seizures reported including opiates and volumes of methamphetamine, which remain high. However, it is important to note that from the year 2014 to the year 2017, most security officers in KRI, including counter-narcotic units, were mobilized to fight against Daesh on the Western fronts. Therefore, seizures remained low at the time during that period and not often registered. However, we see that has clearly improved. Prime Minister Barzani, since our meeting last year and the guidance you provided, the strategic and policy level coordination through your coordinator for international advocacy, Mr. Zibari, continued with increased tempo and assisted to facilitate further coordination with relevant entities in the Kurdish government. Moreover, I would like to recognize the efforts and open door policy afforded to UNODC by the KRI Ministry of Interior under His Excellency Mr. Ribar Ahmed, and also the open door policy afforded to UNODC from the Asaish under Dr. Asmat to coordinate and cooperate on addressing organized crime issues in Kurdistan and across borders. I would also like to thank the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, which is also our main partner on prison support in Kurdistan. And allow me, Excellency, to end on a positive note, to recognize the increased coordination between the Federal Ministry of Interior under His Excellency General Abdul Amir al-Shammari and the Ministry of Interior of Kurdistan and other relevant agencies in the KRI to tackle the increasing threats posed by illicit drug trafficking to and through Iraq. I would like also to recognize the restructuring of the Federal Ministry of Interior departments to meet this challenge, which are a national threat and are in line with UNODC recommendations to address these threats. I would like also to thank our main donor in supporting counter-narcotics work in Iraq, the USA, for their support on this, and I hope for continuous support. UNODC stands ready to support this coordination and, with the support of partners, scale up cooperation with the KRG and the federal government, expand cooperation and support joint programming and exchange of shared experiences. I wish you a fruitful discussion for the rest of the day. Thank you very much, Excellency.